Well, hello, everyone. This is Paul Sessom with Workman Success Systems, and you're here today for an amazing webinar with three amazing panelists here that you're going to meet here in just one moment. And our topic today is how to stop wasting money with online leads. This is a big topic. It's an important topic, especially as we're digging into how we're spending money and what we expect in return. So we're grateful to RISMedia for putting this on today. Thank you for being here, and we are being sponsored by Boomtown, and you're going to hear from this amazing lady here in just a moment that's going to tell you more about Boomtown. Now let me get my screen moving here. So you'll see this QR code over here in the bottom right. You can tag into that. That will give us information about today's show and some downloads later that you can have access to after this conversation. So as well, let's look at how we use the platform today. So while we're doing that, you can practice now. Use your question bar over on your floating menu for your GoToWebinar, and let us know where you're calling in from. Where are you sitting right now? Type in that question, and we'll be able to see it come up and say hello, and you'll let us know who's out there and who's on board. So use your technology, because as we go, if you have a question, you can always put it in the chat box to any one of the panelists, and we'll make sure that we get to that, if not right away, in short order. So as we go through this, please. So why don't you let us know where you're from? We've got several people out there. Where are you based at? Use your chat box on the right to let us know. Okay, what do we have going on? Okay. So while we're doing that, we're going to get started with an introduction to our Boomtown specialist here today that is representing. This is Mary Carolyn Owen. Mary Carolyn Owen is from and is currently in Charleston, South Carolina. She's a graduate of Clemson. Found out earlier that she was a COVID graduate, which means it didn't happen on campus. So she was the first class to graduate as a result in COVID with a Bachelor's of Arts in Communication and a minor in Political Science. So following that graduation, she went to work in the political field, marketing for nonprofits. That's really, really awesome. Mary Carolyn joined Boomtown's Demand Generation in March of 2022. She lives there, and she has 2 golden doodles. I call that chaos. And she likes to run and bike and ride with her free time. So Mary Carolyn, welcome to the call today. Why don't you share with us a little bit about Boomtown and what's happening there?
Thank you so much, Paul, and thank you for having me today and giving us this opportunity to sponsor the webinar. My elevator pitch for Boomtown is basically Boomtown is an all-in-one award-winning software partner. We offer a few different things and services that make up the Boomtown front office. That includes things like lead generation, front-end, website, and CRM, as well as offerings like a lead concierge service that offers 24/7 contact with your leads and a back office management as well. We actually recently acquired Brokerment. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but we implemented a deep integration. So now Boomtown is truly an end-to-end solution with front office and back office capabilities. You know, for those of you who are not familiar with Brokerment, that's transaction management, paperwork management, and also gets that commission management on track for real estate agents. Just kind of makes it a lot easier. We have lots of different things that make up the Boomtown name, but the overall mission here at Boomtown is to make real estate agents successful and keep them that way. Our goal is to make sure all of our clients have all of the things they need to be successful, you know, whether that is access to digital marketing, whether that is access to a resource library, lead generation, lead concierge, like I mentioned. We offer several packages for teams of any size, and they are built to grow and scale with you in whatever market. You know, I know we've seen lots of shifts over the past couple years. In Boomtown, we try to remain consistent and adjust and grow with the market and your teams. So yeah, that's Boomtown for you.
Well, that's awesome. I just representing a client that just signed up for Boomtown, and what really moved into that was the Brokerment piece, is the two working together offered her all of the solutions that she was looking for in her
Mhm.
business. And she's thrilled to be on board. So thank you guys for taking really good care of her. She's an awesome
Great.
client, and she's really
It's good to
excited.
hear.
Yeah, for 100%.
Wonderful.
So let's move and talk to and meet our two panelists today. We have two lovely ladies, both of them from the Houston, Texas area, actually Pearland, right, if I'm not mistaken. Samantha Noor, she's the Chief Operations Officer with the Christy Buck team. She is a master coach with Workman Success as well with myself, and she has been with the Christy Buck team for 15 years. She was like 4 years old when she joined, and she's a licensed broker as well. Samantha oversees every aspect of the team, does an amazing job with that, and helps ensure that the office runs smoothly and effectively for their clients. So Samantha's goal is to make sure all of the team members are thoroughly educated, does a great job with that, on the real estate market, and to make sure their clients receive outstanding service. She is constantly looking for ways to improve their systems and to challenge the Christy Buck team. That is so very true. They grow because they challenge themselves. So they're constantly in that growth pattern. So in such a fast-paced market, there is no time to sit still, Samantha adds. That's true. We have a passion for what we do, and we love creating endless opportunities. So Samantha, welcome to the call today. It's good to have you here.
Hi,
And you,
Paul. Thank you for having me.
absolutely. And Melanie Elrich is with us as well. She is a diamond level sales partner with the Christy Buck team and one of the top producing agents for the Christy Buck team in the Houston, Texas area. Melanie's been in real estate professional for, sorry about that. Melanie has been a real estate professional since 1998 and a local resident for over 30 years. Melanie brings high energy, attention to detail, and dedication to her clients in the real estate industry. She is also actively involved in many local charity organizations. So she says, I am committed to the place I am committed to place the needs of my clients first and provide the highest level of service. Good to have you here, Melanie. Welcome to the call.
Thank you.
There you go. Your sound's popped up. Now, if you notice, Melanie and Samantha both are wearing the same type of t-shirts today, and they are in support. Is it one of your agents or one of the clients that you have that their daughter is fighting leukemia, right? So this is an awareness today of that support that we give others and perhaps how we might be able to support financially some organization. You guys want to talk a little bit about that before we move on?
Yeah, absolutely. One of our clients and very good friends of our team, she found out just a few weeks ago that her 14-year-old daughter has a type of leukemia. It literally came out of the blue. She's high school, ninth grader, cheerleader, you name it. And she found this out. She spent some time in the hospital and going through treatments. And so our whole team, we like to come together anytime we can and support our clients and our community. And we all purchased a shirt. 100% of the proceeds went directly to Callie and her family. And, you know, we're going to wear them every Wednesday in support of her and just try to get out there and donate and get our clients involved to donate and to see what we can do to help in our part.
Yeah, awareness is everything. So great job and good support. It's really good to see that out there building community, right? We all are building our communities around us and supporting each other, and that's how we make it all happen. So today's topic, the most common ways to waste money, and we were having a conversation about this the other day. And one of the ways that we were approaching this topic is to stop wasting money. We got to take action on how we spend money. We have to take action and take advantage of the things that we want to leverage to create income and to create opportunity. So so to that end, it's like, what are some of the ideas around that? We want to track and build systems to perhaps how do we handle too many leads, or how do we manage the tracking systems? This is what people are saying out there, agents are saying, and teams are saying. They're wasting money because they're just not set up to handle it properly. Would you agree with that, Samantha and Melanie?
Absolutely. I think, you know, so many agents we hear all the time that, you know, we're so busy, but we have nothing under contract. And when you dive into the leads and you're like, wow, you have plenty of leads in your database to work. It's just we're not properly working them. We're not following up with clients where, you know, back in the day, Christy and I would write on a notebook or an envelope, and we'd pass it back and forth, and that's how we'd communicate with each other for clients. And we had to stop and say, okay, we're wasting a lot of money and losing a lot of clients because we don't have the organization skills, the systems, the tracking, the accountability in place to handle it.
Right, right. And how does that translate? Because Melanie, you're in the sales division, right? So as Samantha sits in the operations position for the company, you're running your sales division. So there's that same aspect. When you get leads, how do you keep that how do you structure to not waste money on the leads, right?
Pretty much utilizing all the tools in Boomtown for one, just making sure, like, there's so many awesome tools, as seeing when they're online, and reaching out to the people, like for instance the nows. If we see somebody online, we're going to reach out to those first, try to kind of categorize it, who's hot, who's not, make sure they're all categorized correctly. If they're looking, if they're looking right now, we're going to be looking at those every day. If they're not quite ready, making sure they're in the right category of when we're going to touch base and follow up with them.
Right. So part of that concept then, is how we set up training, right? To be successful with anything, it's about how to be trained, what we look at, what we do. So as we walk through this idea of what sort of training mechanisms do you have in place to help your agents be successful, and to take advantage of the leads that the team is delivering, or the leads that the agent is creating, either one. So what are some of the things that we will cover today in this call that will help us understand how to train to the systems better? So
some of those things immediately is lead tracker. And it's a simple spreadsheet. A lot of people think it has to be some elaborate thing to track it. It's just a simple spreadsheet where you just write down what lead you got today, what source it came from, the conversation, and when you're following up with them next. I would say that's first and foremost in training your team. Everybody that you could talk to, whether it's your sphere and you're adding them to your database, or a sign call, they go on that lead tracker. And then the next piece would be scripting and training with our team, right? We're going to talk a lot about LP Mama and what that means, what it looks like, how we divide up our months to be able to reach out to all of these leads, what schedule we use with our ABC lead follow-up. And then we're going to practice and role play, right? Now we have the scripts, we've got the tracking. Now we need to perfect what we're saying. So we're going to talk about that every day, and then how we're going to measure those results on a daily basis with what we call daily success habits.
So you have a comprehensive system there of, like, we're gonna track a lead from where it comes into us, how we assign that, perhaps what we say to be able to capture the lead itself, how the conversations are going to go, how do we follow up, which I think is actually the biggest piece of where we waste money, is following up on the lead and staying in touch with it over time. Would you agree with that? Just that idea and that concept is the time game. And so systems to track it, because we're not able to remember it on a day-to-day basis. So that comprehensive system, which is what Samantha's talking about, is really paramount. It doesn't have to be complex, just something that you can follow and be consistent with. So let me pull this up and hit the screen here. So let's talk about the scripts you were mentioning before. So what do we do with our day, and why do we want to have scripts, and how do we want to schedule our time with that, and what do we want to do with our day to make this work? Can you go into that a little bit?
Of course. So LP Mama is what we use for our primary script. That's what we call, like, the secret script, right? But there's no secret to it. When you get to it, is you want to have a system so that you sound polished, you sound routine, you're making sure you're asking all the right questions to these clients so that you're helping them the best, but you're also making the best use of your time. So every day we come in as a team and we use the script on the screen that you see. It says LP Mama. There are times that we have switched the letters around and gone into different portions of that conversation. But it's important to make sure everyone on the team knows what they're saying to the clients. They're all asking the same questions. They're getting the same information. And I think it just helps, with that communication with the client, making sure you're working with somebody that, do you understand what can they afford? Not just, oh, you called on a $200,000 house. Well, this one's 300. so many agents just hang up the phone, right? But we want our agents to understand this house is 200,000, I'm sorry, 300,000, is it in your price range? And they'll say, no, actually I'm looking more around 200,000. Okay, great. We have a lot of homes in your price point that we can help with that, right? And it's in Pearland, Texas. Is this an area you're looking at? Well, actually, I want to be in Friendswood. And we can kind of guide the conversation rather than saying, oh, no, 300,000 Pearland's not my area or my price point. At that point, you would have lost that lead, but this is helping our agents retain that lead, understand what they're looking for, and continue to help them.
So Melanie, how does this play out for you? You use this process as you're taking a lead in. How does that help you be more effective when you have a format like this?
I think having all the right questions really just lets the client know as well that they're in good hands. They understand, they are realizing that, you know, they might have not even thought of one of the questions and you're answering all these questions. So I think it's building trust with them more than anything, and if, you know, just guiding them, get them to where they need to go.
Okay, it allows you to listen better too, I would imagine, right? When you have a process that you're like, okay, am I getting this acronym nailed, so to speak, right? It allows you to have this process of consistency and be able to measure and to be able to listen better is what I would guess, you know, using this idea, right? So when I know the questions I'm going to ask and I know which way I'm going to lead this call, now I'm able to listen to the client and really hear what they say. Exactly sort of what you were saying, Samantha. I'm not going to shut down somebody because it's a price point I'm not interested in. This allows me to maybe avoid cherry picking because I'm walking through a process of discovery. And now in that process, I'm developing some sort of relationship there. Does that sound fair?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, in addition, also letting you know where to categorize them, because maybe their credit, they're thinking they can buy and their credit's not ready. Well, now you know you're going to put them on a watch or whatever so you can get them categorized correctly.
And I know that we're going to talk about this in a minute, but why is that important to you?
Once again, for follow-up, to know, you know, when you're going to be reaching out to them again, and that's
right. So we don't lose the thing, right? Because this is the moment. What you just said, I think, is really like the kernel of the whole thing. Is this is the moment where it's like I've got to understand what the client need is, so that I can service that client in a way that they need to be serviced, not in the way that I'm servicing, but in a way that they need to be serviced, right? And so now that's that relationship building, that's that connection, which is something that you do very, very well. So when you're doing this, all of this is going on. Do you use the same script with all of your leads coming in? Do you follow the same process with all leads, or just the online leads that you capture?
All leads, definitely. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I may not hit it every single time, but sometimes I'm on the phone, and, you know, if they do, you know, sometimes I wait to get in person to go over everything. If I see they're in a hurry to get off the phone or whatever, I want to, at least if they want an appointment, they want to just get to the point and they don't have time, I'm not going to sit there and force them. I need all these questions answered right now. So sometimes I'll wait, and I mean, my goal is to get it every time, but sometimes I'll wait till I'm face to face.
Okay. So on the screen here, we see the process of 3-2-1. What does that mean to you when we talk about 3-2-1?
So the 3-2-1s is something that we do with our team every day in addition to the scripting. And 3-2-1s is how you're going to work your database. Unfortunately, Boomtown is so organized and makes it so easy for us to do this. But the 3 stands for reaching out to 3 leads in your current database right now, every single day. And the 2 is you're going to add 2 new leads to your database every day. And this doesn't have to be a buyer out there at a builder saying, I'm going to buy a house today. This is somebody you're connecting with, right? You're out at a restaurant, you're having a conversation with this person, and you're asking them, can I add you to my database, keep you updated on what's going on in the market? Are events going on? Anything that they want to know. So you're going to add 2 more. And then the 1 is learning 1 new thing every single day that's going to help you in the industry that you're also going to give back to your client. That one's big for us, is whether it's a social media video that we can shoot of what's going on in the community right now. It can be the favorite paint color right now currently
the month, just something of value that you're learning yourself to be better and also giving back to others out there.
I love that. So then you can go home, right? Basically. So if we just got
Melanie's
really
like,
focused,
maybe.
I know that you wouldn't, because you guys are really making it happen. Your ladies are really making it happen. But it's that simplicity, right? And as an audience, you just heard that simplicity of focus on the activities that really drive today more than ever. And it's focus on the activities that really connect you to the client, that's setting you up to continue to prospect and grow and always have business in front of you. And that's what this does. I mean, Melanie, you didn't become a diamond level agent because you didn't do something. You followed a system to get yourself there. Is that true?
True. Yeah, mine's
Right.
a lot on, getting referrals and repeat clients and building relationships and trust. And I want to always be the go-to person if somebody just needs something, needs a yard guy or whatever they need. I always want to be that person that they contact for anything in the community.
And that means just being outward focused, right? So that's what this process is. The 3-2-1 really comes down to being outward focused. And you just heard a system like Boomtown can make this organization so simple that you're not having to think about, like, who did I call yesterday? And God, the last time I talked to them, I can't remember. Many agents are operating from that basis of let me remember, or when I think of them, I will call them, as opposed to having a systematic process. This is something that I've always struggled with myself, quite frankly, and until I became systemized, I dropped so many leads. When you think about that, I want to call it millions of dollars when you're living in Southern California, millions of dollars of opportunity, because I wasn't systemized and have the process. It wasn't until later in my career that came around. So these really are effective. And when you back it with a good CRM that helps you be organized, it becomes simple. Is that true?
Oh, absolutely. Otherwise, you're just overwhelmed. You come in every day, not sure, you need to, close 2 transactions, and you need to get this many pending, but you have no idea how, and you have all of these leads in your database. So having the system, having the platform organized, is going to help you each day know what to track, right? We always say you have to inspect what you expect, and this is going to help you do that.
I even like putting in notes if I talk to a client and maybe they just got out of the hospital or something like that, and they said, they had knee surgery, they're going to be recuperating for 2 months. I'll put that in there, reminding myself what they're going through so I can have something to talk about that's, important in their lives. And that's.
Uh-oh. Is that my signal that's breaking up, or is that the other side? I'm not able to tell. So maybe it's me that's breaking
up. I believe it's our side.
Okay. So I think I got the gist of that. So I'm apologizing for interrupting, Melanie. But it's again, back to when we're doing outreach and we're following up leads and we're tracking new leads coming in, and we're doing all of these processes, right? It is to make connection for the client's benefit, for what's important to them. Because at the end of the day, the client wants what's good for them. They don't really care what's good for us necessarily. So that outreach, and they're not thinking of us every day, right? Quite frankly, they're not thinking. So these systems help us follow up. So let's talk about a follow-up system and how we can make that easy and effective. Melanie, can you talk a little bit about what this system is here?
So our ABC leads, are A's would be hots, our B's would be who are nurturing, and C's watches. So A's pretty much I'm going to be, those are hots. I'm going to be looking at the computer every day, looking at looking at homes available. Those are people ready right now, or maybe there's nothing available at the moment, but as houses pop up, we're going to be contacting them, daily or every few days. Typically it would be if we had an appointment, but we need a house to pop up before we make the appointment. So those are our nurture leads. They're pretty much ready within 30 to 90 days. And we will contact those leads on the week of the 1st and the week of the 15th. And then the watches would be 90 days or more, and we're going to contact those the week of the 8th.
So this comes back to your LP MAMA script or the LP MAM script, whichever those acronyms that you use. This comes back to the importance of that conversation, right? Because from that conversation, you want to drive to this concept of categorizing your leads so that you can follow up consistently timely. And also, I think a big part, you can answer this, Melanie, more than I can right this very minute. It allows you to focus on the type of lead so your conversations can be very consistent, right? You can be in that groove of, instead of jumping from an A lead to a C lead to a B lead to, I don't know, lead, all of those pieces, right? This allows us to bring focus again back to organization, a way that we can think and be powerful with those clients.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay. So we got a little murky there, I can tell. So we're getting a little freeze, but that, can you get the gist of what we're saying here?
I can pop in too if I need to, if I think mine might be cooperating a little bit better.
Okay. So I think we got that covered, but what do we do with these actual leads now that we would have them? Now what? We want to track
So with these leads, we're going to go put them in our database. So let's say an A lead, a B lead, a C lead. Our A's are considered our hots. Those are leads that we're going to say they're ready now. If they find a house that they like, they're putting an offer in. We're communicating with those leads every single day, and we're setting appointments. We're going into our Boomtown. We're adding a tag that says hot lead or A, however you prefer to categorize it. Then you're going to get to your B leads. These are people that have told us they're ready to move within 30 to 90 days. And we don't want to follow up with them every single day, right? Because we're going to be hounding them too much. So we're going to be putting those on what we call the B leads, which is the nurtures in Boomtown. We're going to categorize them as a nurture. We're going to add an activity for the weeks of the 1st and the 15th. And we're only going to communicate with those clients typically, unless they reach out sooner, on the weeks of the 1st and the 15th. Then you get down to our C leads, which we call our watches. Those leads are 90 days and out. They've expressed, hey, we're ready to move next summer. Again, we don't want to be communicating with them every day when they're not ready for 6 months. So same concept. We're going to categorize them as watch. We're going to say it's a C lead. We're going to follow up with them on the 8th of every month. So when you look at a calendar that you have your 4 weeks, we've got the week of the 1st, we're reaching out to our nurtures. The week of the 8th is our C leads. The week of the 15th, you're going back to your nurtures, which is your B leads. And then we have a 4th piece in there that's not on the screen called our top 50. These are what I like to call our best friends. You've got your friends out there on social media, and then you have your best friends. These are the ones that you expect to get a referral throughout the year, and you're going to nurture them a different way than you would your traditional friend out there. And those are designated to reach out to on the 22nd of each month, so that when you get to the end of the month, you reach every single category in your database, but in an organized fashion.
Organized fashion is the key, right? And so you track this in your CRM or on a specific spreadsheet that we call the lead tracker, which Workman is the tool that has been used before. And that way you can track the dates, categorize them by date, and also set up the next time that you're going to call, because it's going to be either the 2nd week or the 1st week of the following month, right? I'm going to speak to them then. And so you can forward project it so that it's automatically loading up your calendar in advance, right? That system of tracking all leads, not just online leads, all leads, helps you capitalize on the outcome over time. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, absolutely.
Right, so a lead tracking system, and know how to categorize that system to be able to make it work. Hot, nurture, what's the other one? Hot, nurture, and what's the C one?
Watch.
Watch, okay, so hot, nurture, and watch, right, are the primary ones, but that's sort of meaningless unless you tie a date to it. So, and that's the key here, is that those are great, but we want to make sure that we have a date system to follow up on so that we can measure the outcome. A leads are really, really important. That's you do have the date because it's defined by an appointment. That appointment could be 3 weeks down the road. They're going to be out of town or whatever. That's still an A lead. They just went away to do something. It could be a week from now because that's when you're going to show them property, or that's when the listing appointment is going to happen. So those are all categorized as right now business. I think the key to the C lead, and you kind of skirted across it, Samantha, is that it could be way out. The key to it is a defined timeline, not some arbitrary timeline. It's like they have a definition of, it may be 8 years. We're not going to do anything until the kids graduate high school. Okay, so we have a process of staying in touch for 8 years, so to speak, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. And the ones that we have no communication with, Boomtown has a really nice tag that says archive or category. So you can choose archive. Those are the ones that we have not made contact with, we've reached out to, we've tried, or your archive are your top 50 in your sphere. In that case, we're going to put those at the archive category, and then we're going to set the activities according to whatever that need may be.
Of when you're actually going to reach out again and follow those up. Never
Yeah.
let the lead go is what I just heard. Right?
Exactly. We always say no lead is a bad lead. Of course, you're going to get your miscellaneous. It's obvious, right, that it's spam leads in there. However, for the most part, all leads are there to get something of value from you. And we're going to do our very best to stay in communication with every single one of them, but in an organized way so that we don't get overwhelmed and risk dropping the ball on one of them.
That was it, overwhelmed and risk dropping the ball, right? That happens to so many agents. We just take on and take on and take on, and we're not really following through the investments that we make, right? And the investments are not just the financial investment, it's the connections of others, the referrals that come through because you're a trusted resource, from your own databases that you have. But moreover, it's looking at this, and this is a key thing, is, how do you handle your time? This sounds like a lot of activity. And if you have leads coming at you every day online, how do you set your life up? How do you run this? Melanie, you
I will
probably
say,
use this activity, right?
I'm sorry, can you hear me okay?
I can, yes, you're on.
Okay, well, can you repeat that?
Yes, I was saying you probably use this system on a very high level. Would this be true? How you organize your time to be able to get the results and have time to follow these leads
Right.
up, the big investment.
Life happens. It's never going to go as planned, but we're going to try to make this, a good rule of thumb to actually, if I'm going to the gym or I have to make time for myself, or we'll all go crazy if we don't do that. And family time is real big with our team. I mean, we have to put family time on our perfect week. That's so important. So
do you
yes.
schedule that first, or do you schedule that after you do your business? I'm curious. Like, how do you build your week around family?
Definitely putting our family time first, like on their, like even quiet time or going for a walk with the dog. I mean, I put all of that on there. But yeah, I want to put my time first. I still want to make sure I'm going to try to get my 2 hours of prospecting, 1 to 2 hours of prospecting, and then follow up and all of that, and then set time for showings. But I definitely make sure I have my personal time in there. You have to. There's new agents that come in all the time and they're like, how do you do it? I'm overwhelmed. I need balance in my life. And I still say that sometimes too. And then then Samantha or Christy, okay, it all goes back to the perfect week. You have to have balance and you have to go off that. And sometimes we forget that we need that balance. We'll start, getting on the phone calling, and if you don't have you'll call for hours and hours and hours if if you don't have a perfect week in front of you. So you have to set time to do that.
So how this then sets up a system like this is if you look at your day, and this is broken into half-hour increments, and this is really important too. I can tell what's important to anyone that I'm talking to simply by looking at their calendar. And if you look at somebody's calendar, and I do this example when I'm coaching from time to time, it's like, let's go to February the 21st of 2023. What's on your calendar? And usually it's nothing, right? So nobody's thought about how they design their business and their life to make time for everything. I did have one client that I was talking to about the same concept, and they said, my Brita water filter is being changed that day. That was important enough to put on the calendar, but nothing else. So, right, so when you're looking at your business and this balance of life, so Samantha, can you walk us through how do you teach this tool to your team, and how do you follow up with checking in on how do you use it to help people grow?
Yeah, this one is, I mean, I love all of the tools, but this is probably my most favorite, one of them, besides the business plans, because it's important. Melanie's right. Like when I watch Melanie, to be a diamond agent on our team, you're making at least 125,000 commissions on your split. And these agents are closing 40 transactions and up. So Melanie's a very high producer on our team, and yet she has such good life balance. Every Tuesday, Thursday, I know Melanie's going to be at the gym with her trainer. I know almost every Friday, I'm not going to see Melanie in this office because she takes off. That's her time. Her and her girls are doing stuff. She's getting caught up on life, and then she's ready to hit the ground running. And that's a Melanie, what, 7 years she's been here. So when we bring on an agent, first and foremost, we do business plans and we start training and we launch My Perfect Week. And I tell them, you know, it's very important to me what you put on paper on how much you want to make and how many transactions. But what's more important to me is the life balance that you're going to create for you and your family, right? And Christy and I have been through this. We've learned it the hard way, the importance of these things. So we do what we call through, we've learned through coaching, as you put your 5 F's on here first, right? It's your family, it's your fitness, your faith, your fun, and your finance. And those things you're going to schedule. You're going to schedule your date nights with your kids or your significant other. You're going to schedule that gym time. Whatever is important to you in your personal life, first and foremost, goes on here. Most of our agents, after they've been here a while, we tell them schedule a day off during the week, because we know as an agent, you're going to be working on the weekends. You need that designated time off, not in this office. Okay. One of our agents takes off every Monday, and she's done that she's been here 8 or 9 years at this point. And so after they build that, then we're going to start putting in our non-negotiables. We know you have to prospect an hour a day minimal. Okay. If you're underproducing your 2 units a month, we're going to tell you prospect as many hours a day that you're in this office that you're not out in the field. So that minimum 1 hour is going to go in there. And then we start talking about everything else.
Break there again, back to something important. It's like, look, if you can get your prospecting and meet your goals in this time frame, that's working for you. There's 2 things that we can look at. One is how effective are you with the time? And 2, what is it that you need to learn to become more effective if we're not hitting that mark, right? That's brilliant. It's like, look, it's 1 hour a day, unless you're not hitting targets that you've defined for yourself. Now let's look at how we can help you be more effective. You need a little bit more time to learn it, but that's brilliant to be able to balance that. Sorry for the interruption. I just think that's an important piece.
No, that is very important, and it's really helped our agents. You know, some agents, everyone, it takes us longer than others on something to learn or to perfect. And some agents been here 3-4 hours a day, and if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. But it gets better and it gets easier. And you know, the next things we're going to add in our huddles. We huddle every single day as a team. We have our office meetings when we're role playing and scripting. We do that right after huddles. We do a lot of trainings. Another big key is everyone says they want to hold an open house. Well, don't just schedule your open house time for, say, Saturday 10 to 2. When are you going to prepare for that open house? You need at least an hour, in my opinion, to get your flyers ready, get your open house folder together, get your advertising put out there on the web, and wherever you're putting it, run your best fits in Boomtown. It's giving ourselves time to not only do the activity, but to prepare for that activity as well. And so we build this out with our agents, and then we tell them to go run with it, right? And I tell them it's not going to be perfect. In a perfect world, this is what you want your week to look like, but I want you to have it. And then we want you to have your daily success habits, which is what you're actually doing each day. Fill it out. And then we do one-on-ones. We call them meetings instead of accountabilities, but one-on-one meetings twice a month with our agents. And we're sitting there and we are reviewing this. We're opening their My Perfect Week, looking at it. And then I'm looking at what they actually did. And it's really clear at that point. You start connecting the dots, or you see the missing gaps, right? I'll be like, hey, Melanie, you said you and your girls were going to go on date night last Wednesday, or the last 2 Wednesdays, and you were going to hold an open house Saturday. However, you didn't do either of those things, but you actually spent 4 hours working at this particular thing, right? And it's just a good reminder to get her back on track. Like, those activities were important to you. We either need to modify your My Perfect Week to fit them in, or we need to go back and have more structure in your day so that you can make sure those things are done.
Well, it comes back to the conversation today. If we allocate our time wisely, we can address all leads, online leads particularly, and have time to work them. When we define time too as well, it creates a sense of purpose. I have to get this done in this half hour because my next thing is already planned. I'm going here and I'm doing this. And it falls into my perspective of vacation. The reason that we get so busy right before we go on vacation is like, Who doesn't say it? I'm going on vacation. I've got so much business. I can't believe I've. It's because you're closing up all these conversations 3 or 4 days before you go to vacation because you want to clear your mind and know that you've touched everybody. And when you begin to touch everybody on a high volume, very quickly, very purposefully to get it done, everybody's going, yeah, I want to work with you. I want to work with you. And then guess what? You've generated business. If we applied that concept, like in our prospecting hour, it's urgent. I need to get this done. I'm excited to talk to you. It's been a while. Everything's fine. You find out that there's business waiting. Do it daily. Have that energy, right? For sure. It's a really, really, really cool concept. I love this piece too. My perfect week isn't about being perfect. My perfect week is about working to a process that gets you results, and you have your time blocked, and it becomes your rule. And the exception is when it gets interrupted. When it gets interrupted, that's the exception, not living by exception to get things done. Let's talk about like when we have leads coming in. Do they always turn out to be something right away? How do you hang up on them? Do you walk away from those leads? What's the process here when we say service regardless of opportunity? What does that actually mean when we're talking about leads and working with them?
Mel, do you want to take this one?
I would just start out when we're going through LP Mama, trying to get them pre-qualified. They may not, so many times they think they're ready and they're always like, well, ask them how their credit is and they don't know. Well, then we can get them to a lender, find out their credit is not anywhere close to being ready. Well, I always want to give my clients hope. I'll put them, on a watch, but I always want to continue making them feel like they're number one. It doesn't matter if they're ready now or if their credit's bad and it's going to take a while to get it repaired. I still want to let them know how important they are, and I'm going to get them, come up with a plan. Just there's always got to be a plan, no matter what, and give them hope, and then that gets them excited. And always let them know even if it's 1 year, 1 year goes by in a blink of an eye, it's a year already. And then I always want to provide them with tools, if it's a credit repair, or just try to give them more information on, on how we can come up with a solution. So, and which builds trust with them.
Yeah, it may not turn out to be something right now. I love that. And, and in this concept, this idea, if the audience is listening today were to implement the simple things that we're talking about right now, imagine what the 2023 could look like and be like, right? Just by implementing some of these very structured systems that give you simple ways of doing things, and not expecting that business to be there just because the lead comes in. The lead's not always ready when they call. They're just looking for information, perhaps. And so It's just a matter of you helping them determine what the next steps are.
Yeah, and that's all. Follow-up. That's just building your pipeline. It's all about building your pipeline as well.
100%. The bigger your pipeline, the more opportunities that you create for yourself, right? So for sure. So let's talk about the market's been shifting, right? So what do you do with this? How are you handling your leads and the new leads coming in as the market shifts? Has your conversations changed? Has your process changed at all? What's happening with that? So as we come into a shifting market, what's different and what's the same?
So I will take that for a second and then let Melanie take over, because I think she does such a great job with this. We always say to be on top of the changing and shifting market, and that can be hard. I'm going to go back to COVID. We did our business plans, we mapped out our 4 pillars, we thought we had life ready to go for that year, and all of a sudden COVID hits, right? And now we're being told, hey, shut down, nobody can do business, we can't do everything that we can't do. And immediately our whole team huddled together and we said, okay, let's set all these pillars aside. They're irrelevant now, right? We can't do open houses with clients, we can't do all these things, but what can we do, right? People still need housing, we still need to be out there working and making money. And we built a COVID pillar, and our mindset was, if you can't sit in front of a client for 30 days, what does your business need to look like to help them? And the whole team mapped it out, and we did virtual open houses. We started doing Zoom calls with clients. We built virtual presentations with them. We went into houses and we did tours and we called them. And I would say, those that are going to stay ahead of the game are the ones that are constantly like leaning in to understand what's going on in the market, and how to change it. There were so many agents that put their head down and they stayed home, and I get that and I understand it. However, that didn't work for us, and we had our best year ever so far during COVID. And same concept right now, you know, the values are at an all-time high, interest rates are high, and rather than just panicking and not doing anything about it, is we're getting with lenders, we're having meetings. What programs are they offering? You know, we have these 2-1 buy down programs with interest rates. And I will say Workman Success, our coaches have been amazing in creating this shift concept of how to deliver these things to clients, to talk them down off a ledge, so to speak, and guide them to get in a home that makes sense for them still. And, you know, not tell people, oh, just go in and rent, the market it'll cool off. You know, I think that's a big mistake a lot of agents make.
I would say listen to that too. It's about you know, leaning into what the need is today and to have the options available that works in today's market. Our biggest challenge with the shift today on the listing side is that they're going to be on the market longer, generally speaking. Now, that could be 7 days. It's not a huge extension, you know, but it's going to be on the market longer, which allows two things. One, to sharpen our marketing, right, to generate more leads, capture more leads, and to work with those a little bit better over time, right? We have different conversations today. With buyers coming in, we need financing options. Not that it's going to be the right tool for everyone, but the client it's good to share with the client the options available. It sets you up to be the expert. Those are the deliverables on this idea of lean into the shift, learn to understand, learn what their needs are, spend a little bit more time with them, not so rushed. Our market slowed down a little bit in most places, and it allows us to make that connection on a bigger way, bringing these new concepts, these new ideas. It's always shifting. Our market's always shifting. Melanie, what do you say about this really quickly? And I want to make sure we get to these other 2 slides, or 3 slides.
Yeah, it's all about scripting, and like we talked about earlier, our team is real big on scripting. As the market changes, we will always want to have objections to be, you know, be able to answer their objections and, you know, have those answers, and just really just understanding the market and knowing what to say in all different, you know, little scenarios.
So we are constantly elevating ourselves, meaning education, that learn one new thing, right? When we go back to the 3, 2, 1, what is it that I'm going to pick up today that can help me talk to my client tomorrow a little bit better? Today, more than ever, to lean into that and to help them get where they want to go. That's essentially what we're here for, right? It's not about our drive, it's about theirs. So when we're talking then about clients, you know, we have the calls that come in. Many of them want to go to an appointment right away. I want to be in front of the property. Can you come show me this right now? How does that work as an agent and also as lead distribution? How does that work in terms of that? Or do you default back to a standard operating process that you know works more often than not? Nothing works all the time, but the thing that works more often than not. How does that work with you as you play this out in today's market, especially the immediate need of a client? I want it now, right?
Right. Well, the goal has always been, you know, get the appointment, get in front of their face. But like right now, there's still a shortage of homes, and I just let them know how important it is. We have to get them pre-qualified, or they're going to miss out on that house. So I've kind of shifted on trying to get them in front of the lender and letting them. I don't ever want them to think it's just because I don't want to show them. I just express to them how important it is. We have to get you qualified, so we're ready. I mean, if there's multiple offers, which there generally are, you know, if we wait to get you pre-approved, but, you know, go look first and then go talk to a lender, you know, the house is going to be gone by the time we get to go make an offer. So kind of shifted in trying to get them, make sure they're pre-qualified before we get out and look is really what I've been doing.
Especially if it hits their desired, it's a desirable property, right? Are you prepared to act on it now, right?
Right.
Let's slow down a little bit, because we can go look and get your heart set on it and could be disappointed. Maybe it's a process, right?
And
So,
also make sure they're in the right price range, because I'm like, you know, we have to make sure you're in the right price range. You know, different areas, different taxes, you know, just, you know, taxes can make or break a deal, you know, or insurance if it's in a flood zone. You know, we have all these little different things to talk about, so it's real important.
So you lean into that when somebody's doing this sort of call in. I'm here now, I'm ready to go, or I want to do it today at 3 o'clock, and you're already booked in your schedule. These are the conversations that you would have for all clients, or just those situations?
It's pretty much all clients.
Okay. Standard operating procedure, so that, right, your SOP that you're putting out there, right? I love that. So far, what I'm learning about listening to you guys as leadership and as an agent in the office is that we've defined our systems. It's not that they're fixed. We're always working on how they serve the client need the best way possible. That's been what I keep hearing from both of you over and over and over again. And these systems of tracking and learning and listening, all of these help support that. Is that a fair assessment? We don't want to leave anybody behind. So we have a way that we track them. And the minute that we find out that those aren't working, what do you do, Samantha? What happens when you find out the standard operating procedure is not as strong as it was at one time?
We sit down and we make changes. You know, we address it head on immediately. And I mean, you have to make changes quick and run with the next thing.
Right. So, and we do all of this and we want to track. So one of the things that I want to get to is results. So we have all these systems in place. We have leads that are coming in. We want to make sure that we don't drop any of those. So how do we know that we're being successful at the end of the day, besides just the gross sales volume concept? What does that look like?
You know, there's so many ways we track our growth. I always tell everyone, define what is success in your role, and every single person on our team, that success is different, right? Especially whether it's an admin or an agent or an ISA. We're going to be tracking that by multiple ways. You know, we're running that through Boomtown on our traffic dashboards, on our agent dashboards. We're looking at our transaction tracker, on our pendings, our appointment set. We always look for anything that we're spending money on. We want a 6-time return on our investment. It's typically 6 to 10. That's the number we're looking for. Wow. You know, so we're tracking. Yeah, you know, so many people are like, oh, I just want to double my money on it. I'm like, no, if it's not at least 6 times, it doesn't make sense for us to continue.
Okay, so did you start there or did you arrive there, so to speak? That's curious, right? Did you like, okay, we want 6 times, which that I agree with you, number one. So, but out of practice, how did you start all of that? You just didn't arrive like tomorrow, we're going to go 6 times over. What got you there?
No, it's funny you say that, because when we started with Boomtown, you know, it's several years we've had Boomtown now. Our very first year with Boomtown, at the end of that first year, we had a 1% conversion. And when we looked at it, you know, at first it's like any program. It's easy to say, oh, that doesn't work for us, you know, and roll it off. But once we really sat and we dove in, and we have an amazing rep there, is they dove in there, said, hey, you have this many leads, you did this opportunity, we've missed this. And it was eye opener. We were the issue, right? One, it was a new program to us. There's so much to learn. I would say give any of those programs at least 12 months, but be open. Like we were dropping the ball on a lot of things. We didn't have it set up correctly. And plus, a lot of buyers require nurturing. Most buyers are looking 18 to 36 months out before they even buy. And that was such an eye opener for us. And then the next year we bumped to 2%. The year after that, we went to 4%, and, you know, jumped several years later. We're at 12. We're at 12 times our return now. But, you know, we're talking 6-7 years later. It was not overnight, but how do we just cut ties year one? That would have been a huge mistake for us. So I will say, yes, we want 6 to 10 times our return on investment. However, it requires developing, it requires nurturing. Same thing with any system that we've launched, right? That first year is a lot of growth and a lot of trial and error.
I love that. That's just it's not the tool that doesn't work. It's how we grow into understanding how to use the tool. And that takes trial and error. Would that be fair? You know, this is working. We've gotten this far. It's just break even at this moment in time. Let's see how we can get it up a little bit more next year and make it work 10% better, or have a goal about how you want it to work, and then implement those systems. Do you do the same thing as an agent, Melanie, when you're working your own leads coming through, of how you get effective at converting that over time and paying attention to those conversions?
We definitely pay attention to the conversions. We have meetings. we have the one-on-ones, but we also have, just this morning in our meeting, they have a big screen on the computer. They're not hiding anything. So we kind of go, somebody will get called out with permission or whatever, but we'll look at where we are, what, they will show everybody and break it all down and show us, okay, if we are not hitting our goals, did you make all your calls? We'll look at the daily success sheet and what are we doing, why we're not hitting our goals. But yeah, I track mine on my appointments that I have and my closings that I have. And if I'm not hitting my amount that, for the year, we have it all tracked down. Every year, like we're doing our business plans right now. We know how many we're supposed to be hitting, how many closings I'm supposed to have each month. We have what is it, our stretch, Samantha?
Oh yes, our stretch goal.
Yeah,
we always say aim for your stretch goal. So if you hit your goal, that's great, right? But we're going to focus on our stretch goal. And if we hit our dream, that's like double win.
Yeah, we have our
have a goal, you have a stretch goal, you have a dream goal, right?
Yeah.
So you're preparing to be successful is what I just heard.
Right. So we're constantly looking at that, and if we're not hitting our goals, we go back and see what we're doing or what we could be doing different.
And I will add to that just real quick. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Like Mel said, we talk about this in our meetings, is we're very transparent as a team with each other, but also with our clients, right? There's no secrets, and we don't point each other out as a negative, but it's to point each other out to say, hey, look, even our diamond level agents have these struggles. Even Christy and I have these struggles, but this is how we're going to overcome them together. And I think that's what makes us, do as well as we do.
Well, it's allowing yourself to learn, right, and not be perfect, and to really go into that space of like we're always growing and being, and for want of a better way, remove the ego, right? Remove the ego, look at what's really happening, and how can I get better at that? So as you're tracking these results, you're looking at all of these tools. Everything that we've mentioned today actually allows you, the agent, and the operations to look into the business and find out what's working and not working along the way. The tracker, the scheduling of time, the ABC lead management. You can find out somebody's not calling their C leads consistently, or all of them, right? And having these all in place allows us to convert over time at a higher level. And it's about being in the game for a long time and having a bigger vision. You were saying 18 to 36 months is what you found out on the conversion of the buyers. You had to get down to 18 to 36 months to know that, right? Where you could start to see the process. So when you're taking on leads and you're going into your lead conversion processes, stay in the game long enough. Really work the investments that you make. Use the tools to help get you there. Is that really the takeaway? We have just a couple of minutes left. What's the takeaway that you would like for everybody to walk away with today, Melanie, based on this conversation that we've had today?
I would say just, what's important to me is just, staying in touch, making sure your clients are all categorized the right way, and follow up and understanding the market and providing tools. When we are talking to each client, having tools to provide to them on, every situation.
Absolutely. Samantha?
I would say, God, there's so many, but the biggest one is your system and CRM is only going to be as good as you use it. That you get in there, you learn it, you set it up, and you figure it out, and you're constantly learning, right? I would say don't get in your own way of your development, your success, because you already know everything. And you don't need that program. We all could use help. We could always learn something and take that back to your clients. Like Melanie said earlier, it's serving our clients is more important to us at the end of the day. Obviously, we're numbers driven and we're financial driven, but at the end of the day, none of that matters if we're not serving our people appropriately, and use that database to help you do that.
Well, and that's the whole point, is right there, is to use the database. And so the topic today was really about how not to waste money on anything, really. And this is the idea, is that we dig in to give ourselves a system to follow that's simple and give it time. It takes time to develop these things out, be patient, and find out what's working and what's not working. Your whole idea may not change at one time Samantha was saying it earlier, we start, we work on something, we build it, and we see the results of it so that we can change it and get better at it or keep it going. So the idea with not wasting money is to work what you have coming through the door. If you have too much, it means one of two things. Either dial back whatever you're doing to have less leads, which I don't think you want to do, or you start to look at how you expand opportunities for others and build a team, which is what I would recommend that you do. So in that, you want to be able to have a proven success pattern. There was one laid out for you here today, and it's about taking these tools, following and implementing, and perhaps getting coaching to help you get to that next level. So if you would like to get these tools today, you can use the QR code over here on the right of the screen, and you can get access to many of the tools that we talked about. You can download those today. And of course, if you'd like a free consultation with anyone, put in the information, and we'll be all getting back to you. But Samantha, Melanie, I'd really like to thank you for your time today. You guys are awesome. You're a power team. It's really good to hear this from an agent and from leadership perspective of how this idea of taking advantage of everything that comes to you and work all of it so that you have the opportunities that you built for yourself. And Mary Caroline, it was good to meet you today. If you guys have a Boomtown question, you know who to go to. It's an awesome platform. You just heard it reiterated several times over about how that tool can help you get success. RISMedia, thank you for having us here today. We appreciate the time, the opportunity. If there's any questions that you would like to ask, now's the time. I know that I haven't been paying attention to the chat box, so my apologies on that. If there's something that you would like to ask, now's the time to ask. This recording of this webinar is going to be uploaded, and the RISMedia webinar playlist, and that email will be linked out to you later. So any questions that you might have, you see anything, Samantha, in that chat box that we might want to address?
I do. I have a couple of them for us. The first one is, let's see here. Let me go to it real quick. What was the best friends group that you would expect referrals from? And that one is our top 50. We call that our top 50, and it's your 50 people that you feel would give you referrals throughout the year. And it's not just 50 of your closest friends. I want you to think, who do you spend money on that you would want to go to and ask for it in return, which is, you know, our hairdresser, our dry cleaners, your nail person, where you go get your oil change. Mel, I'm sure you have a couple others to add to that. Those are the people you're working in your best friend group. The other question we have is ABC leads. Should you do twice this amount on each, possibly different ways versus just calls? I'm not sure the question exactly there.
Did you do twice this amount on each, meaning A, B, C? I think it's about the leads that are coming to you. Are you categorizing the leads correctly? So it's not about how many are there, it's how many are you responding to, and how are you going to track them over time. All leads are good leads. There's nothing as a bad lead. So even somebody who gives you incorrect information is a good lead because it's telling you something's working. They reached out, they just weren't comfortable in giving you their information. That's all that is. And so that's a lead that's just not ready yet. That's how we look at it. But all leads that come in, we just want to categorize them correctly so that we can follow up with them systematically. I think that would be how I would answer that.
Absolutely. And I see one more right here. Melanie, do you make contact with all of your top 50 once per month?
My goal is to do once a month. We kind of spread it out by week. I might try to do 5 a week, whether it's a little happy hour or taking somebody coffee or just kind of being face to face, or just a phone call. How are you doing? What do you have plans for Thanksgiving? Just kind of just touching base with them. Not always talking about real estate. It's just building a rapport with them. So I try. My goal is 20 a month, a month, but sometimes just 5 a week. Try to break it down.
And Paul, last question. Last question I see is, what does ALM stand for?
So ALM is a different version of LP Mama. It's a simplified version that focuses on appointment. And it's get that appointment first. And when you're at the appointment, you really dive into what the location means and what their motivation is. So ALM is a different version, and it's sort of hijacking a little bit of standard operating procedures. So when you have that button that's pushed that says, can you meet me at 123 Main Street at 3 o'clock? And that's a yes, you just get to that, yes, I'll meet you there. And then getting in front of the client. It's a different technique. So it's what works best for you is really the outcome. So helping a client understand the process, I think, is a better way of going about it, because that too is building the relationship. Both do it. It's just two different techniques around it. Okay. If there's not any other questions, thank you, ladies, again. It was a pleasure. It was my pleasure. And don't forget your downloads. And we will talk to you on the next RISMedia webinar. So look for that coming up. And enjoy the holidays, end of the quarter. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.